Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Manchester City, of course, crashed to a painful 1-0 defeat yesterday at the hands of Aston Villa. And it's been weird watching it all unfold on the internet over the past 24 hours. I feel a little bit better today, of course, a bit more relaxed as such, but largely I am still not particularly confident. I'm still feeling a little bit down from that game because it was not a good game of football. It was not. City have concerned me a little bit. I can't deny that. Today, of course, this is 5 things that we learned. I did my match reaction last night where I talked about the game in a lot more detail. I went through how I feel about it and all that kind of stuff. And I was quite passionate during that about my concerns, and I am going to dive into some of them today in a little bit more detail as well. Now, I need to get this out of the way immediately at the start of the video. It's not over. It isn't over. I've not mentioned that in the 5 things you learned, but I need to say that. Like, I do think if anyone can turn it around, it's Guardiola. I do think things are salvageable. I do think De Bruyne coming back and so on could make a massive difference. But I do think this is serious, and we need to pay attention to it. I do think we have to pay attention to this form because I don't think it is a flash in the pan. I think it does point to some inherent problems that need working on. That's how I feel about it right now. And yeah, so that's the sort of caveat that I want to add at the top of this video. Please as well, do subscribe if you are new to the channel. Let's get to 70k. It'd be great. I've been hanging around this number for ages. Get the subscribers up and do give the video a like. And hello to people watching live. I'm going to fly through the 5 things that we learned before having a chat with people watching live. It is good to see your comments coming in, though. I'd also like to say, if you want to win a nice little competition, one-of-a-kind prize over Football Prizes, they've got a signed and framed Julian Alvarez shirt, of course. That's very, very special, including inbuilt LED lights, which is really interesting. That finishes literally in 3 hours. So if you want to get involved in that, there are 60 tickets left. It ends tonight, £4.95 per ticket, but it's only $199. There's also other prizes available in that. But it's a really cool competition. You can also win the Aguero shirt if you get ticket number 16 if someone hasn't got that already as well. But yeah. A wonderful shirt, a wonderful prize. You can have that on your wall. And he's a guy, he's a treble winner, a World Cup winner, a Copa Libertadores winner, an absolute beast of a player. Talking about his form a bit, obviously right now in general, not being absolutely great, but he's going to go down as a cracking player by the time his career is done. Head over to Football Prizes right now. Click the link in the description below and get involved if you want to. If you want to try and win that Alvarez shirt. So I'm going to start here. Confidence right now is low. I think we've learned that. I looked around the players yesterday at full time, and during the game actually. Like, these players are looking around at each other for inspiration, and it could be down to key players missing, admittedly. But I think right now this is not a Manchester City side thriving. This is a Manchester City side that is. It's fearful right now. It really is. They are nervous. They are hesitant. They can't keep the ball right now. They're not creating very chances. There are individual errors popping up here and there. This is relatively new for this side. I mean, they're not usually this low. Obviously, we go through these patches every single season, but I do think this side right now, the confidence is low. I think it's unquestionable that we're in a situation here where we're going to have to be really patient with this Manchester City side as they try and work it out. Because I think Pep has got a job on his hands. Look, the performances, the Chelsea game was crazy. The Liverpool game I thought was quite encouraging, but we didn't get the victory that maybe we deserved. And I thought the Spurs game was frustrating. And I think eventually, if you keep not getting what you feel you deserve, eventually you start to look into yourself a little bit and go a bit introspective, and eventually your confidence can be hit. And then Aston Villa just battered us, if we're being honest. They battered us last night. That should have been 3 or 4-0. And I think the result of that, the confidence of this team is low. And it's going to be even worse going forward. Pep is going to have to manage this team in the best way that he does, in the way that he knows more than anything. But he's going to have to pick these players up off the floor because they look despondent at full time. Simply because how often do you see a Manchester City side that just do not have any answers or any questions to ask either? Like, usually we don't always have the answers, we waste chances, but we didn't have the questions last night. We had nothing. Like, we had one moment, literally one moment where Haaland, had that shot away, then of course the follow-up as well. But that happened in the 11th minute of the game. 11th minute of the game. Like, after that, there was absolutely nothing. That is not good. That is not good. These players look tired. They look jaded. They look frustrated. They look low right now. It's going to be interesting to see how they turn this around and what Guardiola can do. Because we've got a real serious case of Rodri dependency. Look, we know it, but we're really seeing more and more examples of it. We've played 4 games in the league this season without 4 games this season without Rodri. I think we've lost all 4 of them. It is not looking good, guys. Like, the Rodri dependency has reached almost farcical levels right now. It's great if you're Rodri, by the way. Like, if you ever negotiate a new contract, you could go with a blank check and say, "Give me a big number, cheeky." But I think we've got to admit that for whatever reason, we are not in a situation where we can get on without Rodri. And to be honest, it's sort of a failing, actually, of the management, the transfer approach. It could be that eventually we have players who are here who are good enough to step in. But right now, too many are just work in progress. Like, this is my honest assessment. Like, I'm always one at the start of the season to give players time. And I still want to give a lot of players time. But I think, I really think a lot of people have said that, we need to, we haven't replaced Gundogan properly, and we haven't replaced him with defensive midfield. And I think we really knew, that City wanted Rice or Bellingham, and they were the 2 top-tier signings. We didn't get either of them. And then I think City really wanted Paqueta. Paqueta would have been an excellent signing. I think he would have really suited this City side. Would it have been a Rodri replacement? Probably not. Would he have brought in a bit of quality and a bit of control? Almost certainly. But we didn't get that. And I think Kovacic was a totally fine signing if you get your other superstar player. I think Kovacic is a good signing. I do think when the dust settles in time, Kovacic will be seen as a really good City player. I really hand on heart believe that. I think he'll take time to blend in like Ake did or whatever. Do you know the way that Ake took time? And everyone's like, oh, he's not a good Ake. But eventually, when he learned the City way, he became really good because he's a top pro. I think Kovacic will probably say similar. Ake would never say it's Rodri's level, but I think Kovacic and Ake could probably have similar careers at Manchester City. I think Kovacic could be a good player. I might be wrong, but the point I'm making here really is he's not an immediate replacement in terms of quality for Gundo or quality positional for Rodri. And when it comes to Nunes, I mean, Nunes is a good player, but I've always felt like Nunes does not look like a Manchester City player as well. I think I said after a few games that he looks really talented, but not a talented Manchester City footballer. Like, I think he's got a lot of refining to do. And that would be fine if we'd signed this, like Declan Rice or whatever, someone else, or Bellingham or something. Like, as another midfielder, in addition, it would be fine. But we've got 2 in addition players as opposed to the main man, if that makes sense. And when you consider that we wasted for 50 million best part of on Calvin Phillips, who Guardiola doesn't even consider a football anymore, you basically got 3 players right now that none of them are ready to step up into Rodri's role or Gundogan's role. And that is an issue. We are very, very, very Rodri dependent. And we need to find a way around that. I don't know how we're going to fix it, but it is an issue in my personal opinion. The squad. This is why I was concerned last night. I got a lot of criticism saying, like, when I said we had a problem. And a lot of fans of rival teams jumped on the tweet saying, oh, you're so spoiled. And you lose one game and you say you've got a problem. I get why rival fans would probably miss the context of this. Like, my tweets about that, or my general verdict in the match reaction, was not about losing the game. It was about seeing the overall pattern unfold and reveal itself. Like, I do believe, like, this City side, if everyone's fit, has enough squad quality and not enough depth, enough quality, to win a lot of things. But right now, the squad feels small. It just feels small and it feels weaker. I know technically we're not down on numbers. We lost Palmer, Mahrez, Gundogan, Cancelo. No, and Laporte. Well, we sort of did replace Cancelo with Lewis during the season. So just sort of say Laporte, Palmer, Mahrez, Gundo. I mean, technically it's Cancelo still, but, those 4. Then we brought in, Kovacic, Nunes, Vardiol, Doku. So we have brought in some quality too. But I would argue that at least 2 of them are not really ready yet to be at the level of those Manchester City players that they replaced. Maybe it's quite even, Like, I would say Vardiol, with very little bit of time, can match the level of Laporte. I really believe that. I think he's in a bit of confidence bubble right now, but I'm not too concerned about Vardiol, Laporte. So I think that's fine. I think Palmer and Doku is absolutely more than fine. But then Mahrez, we could have done with his quality right now. And then you look at the midfield loss, and I think Nunes and Kovacic are a net down on that. But either way, I think it's because all four felt sort of trusted, and now we've only got 2 or 3 maybe we trust over that. And then once again, we, as I said on Twitter beforehand, we've sold a lot of the EDS players, so we've got no EDS players. And I think we hoped as well at the start of the season, I hoped at the start of the season that Calvin Phillips would maybe get a chance, and actually show a little bit of positivity and be a decent squad player. But if anything, I would say the situation with Phillips has gone backwards. So I think we're down 2, maybe 1 or 2 senior players that we can trust, given that, you know, Mahrez, Gundogan and everyone went. Then we're down Calvin Phillips' position in the squad. That's 3. We've been down De Bruyne all season because that is out all season. It feels like we're constantly missing one of the senior players because of injury. And we are definitely down on academy players that we trust because we sold them all. So the squad, as a result, just feels smaller and smaller and less balanced. Like, I don't feel like we have the options that we need, and I don't think we've got the young players to come in during the Carabao Cup games as well, to ease the burden a little bit in terms of minutes. Like in previous years, we would happily have Romeo Lavia, Cole Palmer, James McAtee, Wilson Esbrand, you know, people, I've forgotten, there's more. We had, what's the lad who went to Southampton called? The centre-back, I've forgotten his name. I'm so sorry, mate. But you know what I'm on about. We used to have players that would be on the bench. Tommy Dole's another one. Who's the defender? Why is my mind blanked? Captain the EDS. I can play right back. No, not about Harwood Ballas. I'm on about the other guy, the centre back. He went to Burnley. Did he go to Burnley actually? I think I'm on about the guy who went to Burnley. This is irrelevant anyway. Egan Riley, that's it. My mind absolutely blank. Sorry, CJ. I'm about CJ Egan Riley actually. I got people like him. Pep was happy to have on the bench. Now he's happy to have no one on the bench. So it's gone from like having young players who had talent to being around the first team to help sort of pad it out a little bit. We've got none. So the squad feels smaller that way because we often have less players on the bench. And I think we've got more players that Guardiola doesn't, in inverted commas, trust, be it full stop or just not yet. And it used to be that, you know what, he'd always trust his backups because it'd be Zinchenko or Jesus or whatever. He'd always trust them. And if like Foden was in the team and Morris was not, you'd always trust the alternative. But now I feel like he's just sort of not got as many as he wants to trust. So the squad feels small. And to me, given the fact that we were going into the season where we're playing 100 minutes now and we've got the Club World Cup and we've just won a treble so everyone wants to kick us, it feels like a sort of, I don't know, a failing of squad planning, really. Like, the squad is just too small for the modern demands. And, I don't know, in the midfield, it feels even weaker. We need to, in my opinion, what I really want to see, and maybe this is what I feel like I would learn, not sure if anyone else agrees, but I really want this City side, once again, just to prioritise control. I want to see us play Luton. And I want to see us absolutely... I want us to smother them. I want us to smother Luton. I want us to keep the ball. I really love Alvarez, for example, but he does not keep the ball in midfield. Like, facts only in the chat that said put Grealish at 10. I would love to see Grealish there instead. Someone who's going to keep the ball. I want players who are just going to put 30, 40 passes together. Like, I want a team full of ball passes and ball winners in the, you know, if it means, you know, we'll play, you know, Rodri, Stones, Grealish, Silva, Foden, people like that all in the same team. Go for it. I really want a Manchester City side that just keeps the ball, keeps the ball, keeps the ball. I'd rather have a Kanji at right back right now because he's a better passer than Kyle Walker. I would rather just make sure that everyone who can play can keep it. Like, that's, no, I think control, the reason I'm saying this is I think control brings the results back. Like, right now we're not controlling games, and I think this is why the results are dropping down. We are too open, we are too chaotic, and I think we're losing a bit of our identity, and I think this is what I fear could happen, you know, and I think the results come if Manchester City play like Manchester City again. That is the thing. That is how I feel right now. Like, I want City just to keep the ball, pass the ball, and obviously get a result, but I don't think we get a result unless we find who we are again and become Manchester City again. That is my big fear here. That is my big fear. Like, I want the City side to turn it around. There's no point mentioning Phillips in the chat. Phillips is done. He's going in 3 or 4 weeks. I'm certain. Like, Phillips, Pep does not rate him, so we'll not play him, which is mad, but that's where we're at. Pep clearly does not rate him. So that's how I feel about it. The control feels like a massive part of this Manchester City side that I want to see us prioritise. The final thing we learned is our rivals are serious. This is going to be a difficult one this year. It really is. You know, we might catch them up as always, but I do think Arsenal... I really do think Arsenal are a cracking side. I think Liverpool are serious this year. And Aston Villa, man, they were excellent yesterday. They reminded me of a Klopp side from 3 or 4 years back. They were aggressive. They were strong. They were really going for it, you know. And I was really impressed with them. And then, of course, I think when Spurs get all their players back, like Spurs' form hasn't been great, but once they get all their players back, they'll be a different kettle of fish entirely. Like I think this is going to be a very, 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 very difficult title race. It could be too much. This could be the anomaly here, and when we think about it as well, it was always coming. I think Manchester City have raised the levels of the Premier League so far that everyone is shooting at us, and I do think that we're potentially seeing a slight lessening of our quality, and as a result of that, everyone else around us is sort of emboldened a little bit by it. Like Villa, I was so impressed with Villa. I could not believe how good Villa were. I've not watched many Villa games. To be honest, I've not watched any Villa games this season. I don't watch Aston Villa's games. I've seen the highlights, but that was the first time I've watched Villa for 90 minutes this season. Remarkably good, and it could be that we just don't win it this year. But what we're going to have to do is accept that this squad probably needs a rebalancing. But yeah, they were really good. They were excellent. They are built. The thing is, when I watch Villa, what frustrates me a little bit is that we're seeing 11 players who all know their roles really well. Like the reason I talked about control in the previous points. I think I want an element of back to basics. I think that also includes this idea of stop playing players out of role. We're doing a lot of role shifting and a lot of square pegs in round holes. Squound is a compound word for you. The irony of me getting that wrong. But I think as a result of this, we're not seeing players at their optimal best. Like I really do feel like Villa. Every single player was maximised. Every player knew their role perfectly. Every player was up for it. And every player was confident. And all the performances bled into each other. They all raised each other's performances. And I don't see that from Manchester City right now. You know, I see square pegs in round holes. I see lack of confidence. Villa were great. Villa fan in the chat, Kennel says, a Villa fan, that's probably the best we can play. And thankfully caught you in a week where you had some key players missing. It feels like an eye is building something special. Look, if that's the best you play that all the same. Yeah, I'm not trying to denigrate your performance, Kennel. I do think if City had... For what it's worth, by the way, mate, even if City had the strongest team, if you played that good, we might have beaten you, but it would have been a battle. Like, I don't think, even with City with Rodri and Stones and whatever, blow that Villa side away. I really believe that. I was really, really impressed with the intensity and the commitment. We could have beat you with our best team. I don't know. You know, football is very difficult to predict. But if that's your best and you play like that, you're going to beat a lot of sides. There's a reason you won every single home game. Because the intensity was immense and the confidence in the football. And Emery's a great coach. So I do feel, our rivals are serious this season. They are. They really are. And I was really, really impressed with Villa. And we're going to have to take them seriously. So they're the 5 things I wanted to talk about. You know, I'm going to go back to the start in case you joined the video. Confidence right now is at, I wouldn't say an all-time low, but I do think it's probably the lowest since the start of the Guardiola reign the first season. Maybe not, but to me, that was the worst performance that mattered in the Guardiola reign. People talk about Leicester away or Everton away in the first season. That felt different to me because those performances were built around a developing, burgeoning side. And even then, we started 70% possession and had loads of shots. But we just conceded stupid goals very quickly against lesser sides. This, last night, was the first time I've seen us get battered. Like, even Liverpool, the very best, didn't batter us like that. We still created chances. We created nothing last night. We got battered. Our confidence is low. I really felt that was the lowest we've been since Guardiola took over. We are Rodri dependent is the second thing I talked about. We are insanely Rodri dependent right now, and it's not good given the money we spent on midfield. We need to find a way around it. We've signed Phillips, Nunes, Kovacic, and we still look like we need Gundogan, De Bruyne, and Rodri every single game. But Gundogan's gone. Rodri's not available every now and then these days, and De Bruyne is very injured. That is a concern. The squad, to me, does feel weaker. I think the lack of EDS players as available options. I think the players that are coming in need time, but then you combine that, of course, with like people like Rodri and De Bruyne being missing, key players missing, and players who aren't ready to step into their shoes, and some new players who come in who need a little bit of kind of, like Vardy, I think needs a bit more time as well. The squad feels smaller. It feels smaller, and it feels like the walls are closing in around us right now, and that to me is a concern. And I think we need to go back to prioritising control. And what I mean by that is just pass. Get the basics right. Pass the ball, move the ball. Pass the ball, move the ball. Get Pep doing his whole thing, because I want to see City play like Man City again. I don't want to see us give the ball away sloppy in midfield and get countered again and again and again. I want to see City absolute smother teams like we did last season. That's what I want to see. I want to see that. Guys, thanks for watching this 5 Things That We Learned video. Look, things aren't perfect right now. If you've got any questions, by the way, do let me know. I'll go through some questions in the chat for a little bit. Get your questions in, and I'll have a chat about that. I would like to shout out once again, you've got until 7:30 to win this Alvarez signed shirt if you want to. Signed and frame signed shirt. Click the link in the description below. How many tickets are left? Let's have a look. Let me refresh that. There's 60 tickets left as it currently stands. 58, so the numbers are going down there. If you want to win that, you've got 2.5 hours left to enter. Good luck to all you Blues. Yeah, I mean, Stones and KDB are an absolute massive miss. The only thing is, it's just, they are huge for us. But I'm there like, the question for me is, can we lean on them? Are we going to be able to lean on them? Like, are they, like Stones injury prone, KDB, we are hoping an awful lot of KDB is going to come back and be brilliant. Fingers crossed he will be. But I don't think there's any guarantee, sadly. I really don't think there's any guarantee. And can Villa do that against Arsenal last week? Kwame, look, they could do. I don't see why not. Yeah, at home, definitely. Absolutely, yeah, they could do. I mean, I think Arsenal will be better than we were last night, but yeah, they could beat them. Anomi said, if you had to pick 2 trophies, Steve, one of them's the FA Cup. What's your second one? League. It is the league. I want us to win 4 in a row. I'm fine with the Champions League last season. I know the Champions League is going to be great, but I want to win the league this season. I want to win the league. I want 4 in a row. I just want it. Yeah, that's how I feel. I don't need 2 Champions Leagues in a row. I feel like 4 in a row has never been done. It's never been done. Like, obviously, oh no, sorry, to be fair, I forgot about Club World Cup. I even sort of seen that as a given. It's not a given, but like, I would expect us to win that. Like, it's not. Yeah, I want to win the Club World Cup too, actually. But I presume you were including that, mate. Maybe you were, but I wouldn't be happy with the Club World Cup and nothing else. Like, that's not good enough. Like, we should be winning the Club World Cup in the way that we should win the Super Cup, But 4 in a row for me is what I want. Look, if we won the Champions League and not the league, I'd be buzzing. Don't get me wrong. But I don't know. I think I want the 4 in a row. We will see. Guys, thank you for watching. You're all superstars. Of course, it wasn't great, but we move on. We will be fine, I promise you. Luton's going to be interesting. Let's see what Pep has in store for us. Go watch my match reaction from last night, and I'll get more videos planned in a bit. You're all beautiful, wonderful. Bye-bye.